news, but not hardly anything. Hello, this is Patricia with an apology first to the streaming people who have not heard us the last few days because of an error with a connection on my microphone. Good evening, everybody, though. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David. And yes, I'm checking behind and the streaming is working tonight. Some of you will have missed the news of the last few days, which is good because if you're sporting minded, the news for New Zealand was no good on any of the sporting fronts. So we've missed that out and you won't have to be concerned about it. The few boats that were around, we had Andiamo just stormed into Port Vila. With these good strong winds, and Rapaki is in Denarau, probably fixing the forestay, not tied down. They're in Port Resolution, not sure if they've got up the mountain yet because it wasn't looking very good, and boy, it is going to be windy. Anyway, I wonder if Freedom Song is on frequency. I'll give you a call shortly, Gary, if you are trying to get into New Caledonia with these strong winds. So we'll concentrate on weather tonight, but just a little bit of news of general interest for those that are from the Gulf Harbour area. We've just had notification that we now have new high-speed Wi-Fi throughout the marina. I'll believe it when I see it, but anyway, that's the news from them. Funnily enough, Auckland, well, it's not funny, I suppose, Auckland Transport hop cards they've had a ransomware attack, so nobody can do much with their hop cards at the moment. That covers all of the transport within the Greater Auckland area. So you can't update your hop cards, can't put money in, which I'm sure people are not going to be too worried about. Jumping overseas, the Libya death toll from these floods, and these were caused mainly, the worst of it, from the 2 dams that collapsed. There's well over 3,500 now. It's absolute devastation coming from there. Kim Jong-un and his very fancy train, heavily fortified, and his entourage and family are, of course, in Russia with talks with Mr. Putin. Mr. is probably getting technical help to stop their missiles falling apart in the air, and he'll probably exchange help on that for munitions, which Russia needs for their Ukraine war. A luxury, and this is of interest because it's full of Australians, a luxury cruise ship, the Ocean Explorer, and it is a luxury cruise one. It's small and it's got a very high percentage of staff to passengers. There's 206 people on board, mostly Australians, and it is well and truly stuck on what they call a uncharted underwater obstacle. How's that for that hit something? Anyway, it's way the hell north of Greenland's capital, Nuuk. In fact, it's about 1,400 kilometres north in what is the world's most northern national park. So that's a bit of a to-do-it, especially now as they've started to find that some of the well-paying passengers have got COVID. So that's going to be a bit of a problem. Getting to look at the Rugby World Cup, the next game of interest to most people will be New Zealand versus Italy on Saturday.
No, it's Namibia.
Oh, Namibia, sorry. No, that's right, Namibia. And then the Italy one is after that. And for Australia on Monday, it's Australia versus Fiji. Now, that is going to be a very interesting game. So I'm sure the Fijians will be really wild up after their not very good treatment from the referee on the game on the weekend against Wales. It's from all of the reports, they felt that they were rather hard done by. So, and that's not just the Fijians talking. It was quite a lot of people looking at what the referees are doing for this World Cup. Anyway, that's what I've got from me. I think what we'll do first is pass the microphone to David because there is just a lot of weather to talk about. and then we'll take any boats that might want something after that. There are actually a few boats going north and south from New Zealand at the moment, interestingly enough. So we'll see what he's got in store for us all.
All right, let's take a look at the synoptic picture for today. It's quite a picture. Thursday the 14th. Well, thanks to the developing El Nino, we see a very strong high, 1030 millibar, centered further north than we usually see with La Nina. And this high is centered at approximately 30 south and 155 east, if anybody's interested in that. But two things are happening. Number one, and again a sign of El Nino, we see a very intense southern depression, actually southern depressions, moving west to east. This is creating two squash zones. One is in the Tasmania area as the cyclonic isobars from that depression push into the anticyclonic isobars of our intense high. Then on the southeast side of our high, another squash zone, as another intense depression is centered just to the southeast of New Zealand's South Island. And winds and seas, as you can imagine, are quite nasty, to say the least. Now, the second thing to note in this is a polar dip on the north side of this intense high. Now, polar dips, as I hope many of you know, are precursors of tropical or subtropical depressions. Now, this one has not developed into a depression, but it is certainly an active trough. Isobars are squeezed, creating very strong winds in the New Caledonia area. Now, this trough line extends north, affecting not only New Caledonia, obviously, but also Vanuatu and on to the Solomons as well. Now, by Saturday, this dip and associated trough moved to roughly just east of Vanuatu. That would be the axis, giving relief to New Caledonia. They'll be quite happy about that. And by Sunday, the dip weakens a wee bit, as does the trough, but not before it whacks Fiji. Good old Fiji gets it again. Now by Monday, the high center becomes elongated, greatly elongated, with its isobars running almost in a straight line west to east. Now winds are going to be mostly easterly quadrant, running 20 to 30 knots, depending upon where you are. And where you are would be between 30 south and almost 15 south. Expect areas of squalls and rain as well. And again, that depends upon your location where you are. So there we have it. A lot of activity in the Southwest Pacific. And that's the story for today.
Okay, thank you for that. Boy, it's really, well, if you are suffering from strong winds and you're grumpy about it because you can't do your snorkeling and diving and things, just think of the poor people like us that have got roofers who won't work above 15 knots. Well, actually, they did today. They worked in the 15 to 20 knot region here, but it's 15 to 20 at the moment, actually, southwest. We didn't get any rain today, which did encourage them to come at lunchtime. The barometer is plunging, 1020, and we've got 16 degrees. So this southwest wind is just not what we really enjoy. And it's going to be quite nasty here in New Zealand for quite a few days. So that's not very wonderful when you're trying to do work on top of a roof on a hill. Right, this is Gulf Harbour Radio, and just before I call for boats, please, if you don't hear streaming, we do stream every night. We are here every night God knows why sometimes. But anyway, we are. So if there is a problem and you don't hear us, let me know. Thank you, Mark, as you have done. GHradio@extra.co.nz. That's xtra.co.nz, and the GH is just GH Radio, all run together. Just drop me an email on that or anything else that you might want to check out something, just to get another opinion on perhaps a weather passage proposal. So this is Gulf Harbour Radio. Is there anybody wanting to check in, call in, give us some information, whatever? Come now. No, nothing heard. And if you are listening, just let people know, because people are starting to think about passage making. If you go on to our website, check out there's quite a few papers on coming to New Zealand or leaving the islands in various directions. Check it out. Get your ideas starting to percolate and think about things. And if you want to check out anything with David, just send him an email. And please let people know that we are on air every night at this time, 0515 UTC, 5:15 New Zealand time. New Zealand does go on to daylight saving later this month, but we will stay on 0515 UTC. So don't change because New Zealand daylight time is changing. If you are changing your clocks up there in the islands, it is still going to be 0515 UTC. Cheers, everybody. The frequency is all yours. And streaming's about to come off.
Well, that's true.
There were 3 people listening already.